Tonight on CFTK-TV News, Canada's struggling softwood lumber market, ER wait times escalate across the country, and sweet gifts for babies in the new NICU.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this Monday, November 10th, 2025. I'm Jaylene Matthews. After a drenching weekend, the flood watch for BC's northern coast and the high stream flow advisory for Haida Gwaii have been lifted. The BC River Forecast Centre upgraded its warnings to a flood watch yesterday for waterways on the north coast, including for communities in Stewart, Terrace, Prince Rupert, Kitimat, and several other coastal areas. The forecaster said rainfall over the weekend ranged from 65 to 95 millimeters, and another 20 to 40 millimeters were expected to push up rivers and streams even further. Rainfall did ease today, and the flood watch was lifted. A local group in Terrace has become a regular provider of handmade items for a very special wing of the region's hospital. CFTK-TV's Kale Maslin has the report.
The Knox United Church acts as the home to a prayer shawl group made up of ladies that get together every Thursday to knit and crochet clothes for the purpose of donating them, and various organizations have really benefited from their donations.
We have about 24 different organizations that we send our product to. We're busy knitting for the new NICU, babies' sweaters, blankets, toques, mitts. We used to support the Prince George NICU, but now that we have one, we have sent our stuff to the local NICU. Yeah.
At the end of September, since the month served as NICU Awareness Month, the group delivered 6 full boxes of handmade items to the new NICU at the Cassian Regional Hospital in Terrace. The items were given with the purpose of being used to clothe premature or sick babies that need to visit that part of the hospital. And the nurses at the hospital weren't the only ones to take pleasure from these gifts being given.
You have no idea the feeling, the overwhelmed feeling of presenting this stuff to our NICU, which is amazing. Our ladies group is they're so busy knitting and crocheting, mainly for the NICU. It was just overwhelming.
The group's knitting materials mostly come from local people around the community who have wool or other materials that they no longer have use for. And while they don't have set dates to send out donations, their plan is to continuously donate their knitted items whenever they believe that they have enough of them at a given time. For CFTK TV News, I'm Kale Maslin.
A regional food bank is growing but also struggling with broken promises on funding as it tries to feed increasing hunger in the region. CTV's Andy Garland reports.
Loaves and Fishes serves 15,000 people in 40 communities.
We deliver food everywhere from Victoria up to Haida Gwaii.
And with the rising cost of living, demand for their services is skyrocketing.
We do have about 100 new people registering every week.
Donations are also down 20%, which is something Executive Director Peter Sinclair, who is away today, has said he's never seen before.
Where we have such an increase in demand, coupled with a real decrease in donations.
A new warehouse, which will be nearly 5 times the size of their current facility, is under construction and will be enough space to keep up with demand.
This is a critical piece of regional infrastructure serving the island.
The city purchased the land. The province also invested $7 million, but a promise last year by the federal government for $5 million has not come through.
I'll be watching this next federal budget closely, Mr. Speaker, and I'll be following up with this government to make sure Loaves and Fishes gets every penny.
Nanaimo Ladysmith's Member of Parliament, Tamara Cronus, spoke about the promised funds in the House before the budget was released. And Loaves and Fishes was not in it.
I was quite frankly spitting mad about it.
Cronus says a promise was made in last year's fall economic statement, and through an order paper question, she found out that no contribution agreement had been signed. Therefore, the government believes it has no obligation to keep the promise.
We have this promise in writing, and if this government does not honor that promise, then I don't know how anyone has any faith in any of their other promises.
With no federal funding, Loaves and Fishes plans on getting a commercial construction mortgage, which will cost $30,000 a month and mean tough decisions will have to be made.
It wouldn't be easy. That would involve scaling back the services that we provide in the communities.
If there's a silver lining to Loaves and Fishes' dilemma, it would be donations have increased since the word got out.
The public really has rallied around. I am overwhelmed by the generosity of people on Vancouver Island.
People can donate and sign up to volunteer by going to Loaves and Fishes' website. Andy Garland, CTV News, Nanaimo.
Coming up next, increasing ER wait times across the country. An animal sanctuary in BC's interior says it is facing a heartbreaking experience after discovering a positive case of H5N1, also known as avian flu. Critter Aid, based in Summerland, says it provides a home to 54 rescue animals, including several chickens and ducks. The Post does not link the positive case to a specific animal, but says the discovery has devastated staff and volunteers. Critter Aid says the situation has required immediate action and coordination with local health officials, veterinary professionals, and the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. The CFIA last week completed the cull and disposal of 314 ostriches after the Supreme Court of Canada refused to hear an appeal from Universal Ostrich Farms near Edgewood following an avian flu outbreak there. The long ER waits and staffing shortages that have been plaguing the country have terrible implications if not addressed, and as CTV's Alex Carpa reports, puts people's lives on the line.
Harriet Burkle was hospitalized for over a month at the beginning of 2024.
It happened so fast.
On the morning of December 31st, 2023, Burkle was taken to Winnipeg's Health Sciences Centre by ambulance after not feeling well. She was triaged and put on a gurney, but proceeded to wait and wait and wait, getting no help for hours.
For 8 hours, I lay on that gurney, and no one checked my vitals. I'm starting to get worried. I'm feeling worse and worse.
Burkle knew she had to take matters into her own hands. She left the hospital, went home, called a second ambulance, returned to the hospital, and found out she had sepsis and only had 2 hours to live.
If I wouldn't have left the hospital, I would have been dead, because after 8 hours, no one had checked my vitals.
Manitoba's Shared Health said HSC is actively working to improve patient flow and reduce wait times. Last week, a triage nurse who CTV News agreed not to identify over fears of repercussions said they are surprised more people haven't died while waiting in emergency and admits the situation will worsen if nothing is done to change it.
This has been a chronic issue that's been compounding over time.
Nick Casper, who himself is a firefighter, says hospital delays are also taking a toll on frontline staff.
Our members are sitting with stable, low acuity healthcare patients for hours at a time. And when I say hours, I mean, half a day.
It's surreal.
As for Burkle, she says her story should send a warning to others.
You really strongly have to advocate for yourself.
And her advocating for herself in a time of distress was a decision that saved her life. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The country has officially lost its measles elimination status after an outbreak last fall spread to more than 5,000 people in Canada. The Public Health Agency of Canada confirmed the news today. It says the Pan American Health Organization revoked the status Canada had held for more than 25 years after confirming there's been ongoing transmission of the same strain of measles for more than 1 year. Canada will need to stamp out the transmission of the current strain for at least 12 months in order to get its elimination status back. Turning now to your Northwest BC weather report. Tonight on the north coast, expect conditions to be rainy, about 10 to 20 millimeters of rain, also windy, temperature steady near 6 degrees. Over the next few days on the north coast, expect mainly overcast conditions with lots of showers, but the sun might peek through for a while on Thursday. Daily highs 5 to 7 degrees, overnight lows between 1 and 4 degrees. Tonight in the Terrace-Kitimat area, expect showers, wind diminishing near midnight, temperature steady near +5 degrees. Over the next few days in the Terrace-Kitimat area, expect mainly overcast and showers right through the week. Daily highs 3 to 6 degrees, overnight lows dropping from 5 degrees tonight to just above or below freezing for the rest of the week. Tonight in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, it's looking partly cloudy with a 30% chance of showers this evening. Clearing near midnight, wind becoming light early this evening, a low of -4, wind chill -9 overnight. Over the next few days in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, you're looking at a nice sunny 5 degrees tomorrow. Then there's light snow in the forecast for the rest of the week. Daily highs from -2 to 5 degrees, overnight lows between -1 and -7 degrees. Checking your Drive BC highways now. On Highway 16, there's bridge maintenance and road maintenance underway, as well as water pooling and slippery sections to watch out for. On Highway 37, watch for water pooling and slippery sections. On Highway 37A, there's a section with falling rocks, as well as bridge maintenance underway. On Highway 118, watch for slippery sections. And on the Niska Highway, there is water pooling. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come, the struggling Canadian softwood lumber sector. The mayor of a community in BC's Cariboo region says U.S. tariffs on the softwood lumber industry are the icing on the cake for an industry in need of fundamental reforms as it prepares for the closure of a local lumber mill. 100 Mile House Mayor Maureen Pinckney says she won't necessarily point fingers at who's doing what right or wrong, but adds what's been happening in the last 20 years has not worked. West Fraser Timber announced Thursday it will permanently close its lumber mill in 100 Mile House, with about 165 jobs lost by the end of 2025 because the mill lacks reliable access to what the company calls an adequate volume of economically viable timber, coupled with concerns about tariffs. Those heavy duties are hammering Canadian markets across the board. CTV's Sarah Plowman reports.
When your biggest customer causes pain, you feel it a lot. U.S. tariffs and duties on softwood lumber sit at 45%, and the president has threatened to add more. Some mills have had to cut back or close, so Canada's forestry sector was definitely looking to the federal budget for relief.
We saw ourselves in this budget. It's just such a crisis moment for our sector and for our people right now. It's tough to be overly optimistic.
The Carney government's budget included a previously promised support package, $1.25 billion with hundreds of millions in loan guarantees and help to diversify markets. The budget also committed to using Canadian lumber in construction and expanded an investment tax credit to include biomass. Money to support the industry has started to flow. Ottawa says hundreds of millions of dollars in financing is already in the pipeline. But the Forest Products Association of Canada is hearing some companies aren't able to access it.
So that's something we need to dig into to better understand to see if government can make a pivot there with the banks.
The industry's top priority is a trade deal with the U.S. The Premier of New Brunswick wants this sector to be first on the list in negotiations.
And then our industries here need more than just loan guarantee support. We want to make sure that when they talk about expanding and diversifying markets, that is money that's going to be out the door tomorrow.
At a summit in Vancouver last week, Ottawa agreed to set up a task force with BC, pledging more support for forestry.
Obviously too tight to the budget to be reflected there, but we're looking for that from the federal government.
The head of Unifor thinks the Build Canada Homes program will bring a boost, and the support package is crucial, but is calling for a coordinated national strategy bringing government, industry, and unions together.
We really believe that this is essential to making sure we can weather this crisis.
Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Fredericton.
Canada's climate plan aims to balance environmental concerns with energy projects, and a new announcement from Prime Minister Mark Carney on priority projects are expected Thursday. Carney revealed the timing today while speaking in Fredericton. Carney announced the first 5 projects for consideration of the national interest designation 2 months ago, but so far no project has received it yet. Getting the designation would help garner special treatment to help a project move forward.
It's a climate strategy that signals a shifting approach. One aiming to deal with a new global trade landscape, rapid technological advancements, and a move toward clean energy around the world, says Canada's Environment Minister.
This strategy connects our climate ambition with a plan for economic growth. It prioritizes measures that deliver the greatest emissions reductions and increases competitiveness at the lowest cost for Canadians.
But the framework is short on details and provides no update on where Canada stands on emissions reduction targets.
This climate competitiveness strategy, when we look at what Canada was doing prior, actually brings us back.
But the government says the plan had to change.
Energy and the environment must go hand in hand.
But balancing environmental ambitions and aspirations for new conventional energy projects will be a challenge. The strategy indicates an emissions cap on oil and gas could be dropped if other measures to cut pollution go ahead, a move industry has long called for.
It's helpful, but it's not anywhere close to providing a level of certainty that companies are going to look for before they're going to invest in things.
Still, the Prime Minister signaled Friday a new pipeline project is going to happen, but his energy minister stopped short of confirming that.
I learned a long time ago not to get ahead of my boss. There is agreement between the federal government and the Alberta government. We need to continue working on that. Those discussions are live. I will let my boss and the Premier of Alberta decide when they're ready to share the details of that with the public.
It is expected the Prime Minister will announce a second round of nation-building projects this week.
Canada's Indigenous Services Minister says communities shouldn't worry about zeros in the recent federal budget. The budget froze annual base funding for Indigenous health and social services and treaty work. Minister Mandy Gold-Masti says it amounts to a 2% cut. Turning to the markets now, strength in the basic materials sector helped Canada's main stock index rise by more than 400 points, while U.S. markets also rose. The Canadian dollar rose 0.2 cents. The price of gold gained $112. Oil was up 38 cents. Natural gas gained 6 cents. Aluminum was down $21. In Toronto, the TSX was up 404 points. The Venture Index gained almost 23 points. In New York, the Dow Jones was up by close to 382 points, and the Nasdaq rose nearly 381 points. Still ahead, debate over the fate of forsaken belugas. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister says U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has avoided the 51st state chatter as the G7 meeting looms. Anita Anand will be welcoming Rubio and other foreign ministers from G7 countries to Ontario's Niagara region this week. They'll be talking about shared economic and security challenges in the midst of geopolitical uncertainty. And we are at a point where veterans of the Second World War are still with us. CTV's Alex Karpa was able to speak with two veterans in Winnipeg who recall their memories of the war and what Remembrance Day means to them.
102-year-old Percy Rosamond was just 19 when he joined the Royal Canadian Air Force in 1942.
I don't know why, but I enjoyed my time in the Air Force.
He was an aircraft mechanic during the war stationed in England, where he worked on Liberator bombers. Rosamond recalls his brother, who was an air gunner during the war, left England the same day he arrived.
I thought that was quite a novel thing to have happen.
101-year-old Andrew Prodanek was also 19 when he joined the war effort in 1943.
I tried to get into be a pilot, but all the positions were filled because this was near the end of the war, and so I took on navigation.
Prodanek trained in Brandon, Regina, Saskatoon, and ended up in Rivers, Manitoba. By the time his training was complete, the war was over. He says he has fond memories of his time in active duty.
It was very interesting work.
With Remembrance Day tomorrow, Prodanek and Rosamond will both remember friends who made the ultimate sacrifice. And with that, Rosamond is sharing a simple message.
Just never forget.
Both men live at this facility here in Winnipeg and are part of a dwindling number of Second World War veterans in Canada, a conflict where more than 1 million Canadians served.
A sad situation of beluga whales left at a derelict Ontario marineland has no easy solution. But as CTV's Garrett Berry reports, there is some hope in the proposals for the fate of the animals.
The situation is dire at the former Marineland amusement park in Niagara Falls. A former trainer says pools are falling apart, animals are playing with concrete debris, and they should be removed immediately. The future of those animals is murky after Ottawa denied a permit to have the whales exported to China. But the small Newfoundland town of Burgeo is ready to help.
We feel the bay that we have there is well sheltered. It offers, deep waters as well as shallow waters, easily accessible.
Green says his town could take about 10 beluga whales and give them a good life in an enclosed but natural environment, provided it can access financial support.
We have a few third parties that are looking to help with this financially. Obviously, it's a huge financial undertaking in itself.
A second proposal for a sanctuary in Port Hilford Bay in Nova Scotia is even further along, having acquired a lease for Crown land from their provincial government.
Yes, it's ambitious. It takes a lot of money, but it's actually less money than any park would spend to build a new tank.
But according to a marine mammal expert, these proposals both face steep obstacles.
I like your comparison of a moonshot.
A mass relocation of animals like this has never quite happened before. You need infrastructure to regularly access and care for the animals. Even then, they may not adapt well.
Even if we say all of this has been solved, we still have no idea how it's going to work out. So it's an experiment.
Both of the proposed whale sanctuaries say they may be able to accept animals next summer. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
That's our news for now. For more local news, visit us at CFTK-TV.com. We're also on YouTube, TikTok, Blue Sky, and X. Thanks for watching.